All right, so in this video, we're going to start talking about potential energy. In the last video, we talked about how conservative forces had potential energies associated with them. And so let's start looking at that, right? And so where does potential energy come from? It actually comes from, this force, but potential energy, right, is officially defined as, can only depend on object's location, okay? We mentioned that in the last video. And so therefore, potential energy is a function of position. So we can write that as U of X, right? This is going to be a short video because a lot of our effort is going to be put into talking about specific potential energies, but this is just kind of an introduction to force and potential energy. All right, so one way you can think of force is that it is a negative derivative, okay, of potential energy, right? And so if I want to write that mathematically, F equals negative du dx, right? And this actually goes that little bullet point right there. So the negative sign indicates that the direction of force is always towards a lower potential energy, right? I want to kind of highlight this whole thing, right? Because that's very important, right? All force wants to bring it down to a lower potential energy, okay? So if you think of gravity, right? Gravity, or the force of gravity, right? Gravitational force is a conservative force. If an object is at a height, right? Well, what does gravity want to do? It wants to bring it down, right? Where it is going towards a lower potential energy. So this is a high PE, right? Down here would be a low PE, but gravity brings it down, okay? Now, if this wasn't true, such things, objects would roll uphill, or springs would stretch themselves towards infinity. Again, we talk about F equals kx, right? So if I have a spring, right, and it's kind of going back and forth, remember, kx, F equals negative kx, right, is a restoring force, right? So this wants to bring it back this way, right? If my motion is kind of to the right here, and wants to restore back to equilibrium, right? It wants to bring that block back to this point, okay? And so that's where we say that it always wants to bring it back to a lower potential energy, right? But that also does give us another relationship, right, for to determine potential energy, right? It's just simply U equals negative integral of F of X dx, right? So basically, if I were to take this equation, F equals negative du dx, and solve it for U, I end up with U equals negative F of X dx, okay? And now we're going to look at, next couple of videos, we're going to be looking at specific potential energy.